Thanks, Toomey. Welcome, everybody, to this session. If you think that was good, then wait till you see what's coming here. May you live in interesting times. That Chinese proverb that was actually more about an accusation, basically imparting that peace and tranquility was likely more likely to come your way in untroubled times. Well, we are in quite interesting times, and they are quite disruptive, and they are as much an opportunity as they are a curse. This section is headed The New Age of Minerals. Well, to pick up on another proverb, what is old is new again. Because minerals have been front and center in some of the most disruptive of times, in magnitude and significance, since the Industrial Revolution. By way of opening into this section, let's go through a few of them. Open market reforms and the international trade and investment liberalisation, founded on the pillars of comparative advantage and competitive strength, essentially opened up the gates for China to become part of the World Trade Organization and sponsored the greatest global structural transformation since the Industrial Revolution. That deregulation also opened up much greater personal accountability and collective responsibility in the private sector. Essentially, governments vacated the field for holding companies to account. The global commitment to sustainable development brought environmental and social stewardship into the metrics of what we do to complement financial. It also introduced the concept of inclusive capitalism, which we've heard a lot about here today, and that is that those communities in which we operate, those so-called stakeholders, they have equity, not just financial equity, but they have equity in what we do. They have an interest, part of the universal obligation to take account. The digital revolution is enabling essentially the digitalization of traditional business operations and opening up a whole new range of opportunities in machine learning and artificial intelligence. It's also visiting on us skills requirements as data engineers and programmers and all the other things that go with making that work. The energy transition to decarbonisation, electrification, there's no going back. All those bridges are burnt. But the real imperative is to make sure that ambition and ideology doesn't get ahead of capacity. Otherwise, you'll get a reversal. The globalization, we talked about that this morning. It's not going anywhere. In fact, all of these transformations, and you can throw into that the way capital markets have shifted. The risk capital coming from equity markets used to be 80%. It's the other way around now. It's coming mostly from institutions. So we've seen the antipathy in the capital markets and the risk capital change in its dimensions. Why am I telling you all of this? Because those are the foundations to the trajectory of structural transformation and growth in our sector and where it's going. It's not a new age in minerals, it's the old is new again, and we will get cyclical volatility around that long-term structural adjustment. Whether it's the Australian-Asian financial crisis, the global financial crisis, COVID, the Ukraine-Russia war, it doesn't derail that long-term trajectory and where we are. And as we've heard today, the inconceivable demand curves that we face in terms of satisfying society's demand for metals. So what you're going to hear in this session, are you clapping me or somebody else? So what you're going to hear in this session is essentially a whole lot of people who are going to take you down that path. And they're going to tell you what we've done, what we learnt, what we can see what's going to happen tomorrow, and what that means for our strategies for the future. Toomey, back to you.
Mitchell, thank you ever so much.